Noodle.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the WorshipCast. My name is Franklin.
And I'm Matt, and I should never do this at rehearsal. Noodle.
Stop!
Welcome back to another episode of the WorshipCast. That was a silly intro, but it goes to show that you shouldn't noodle during rehearsal and many other things. We're going to talk about effective rehearsal time on today's episode.
Oh, yes.
Things you should be doing.
It's very much needed to do these things.
Or not do these things.
But
we had an episode a few weeks back about effective practice. Practices at home.
Yep.
Practices you time. Rehearsal is on everybody else's time. So it's important to be there and be respectful. Rule number 1, like I did at the start of the episode, don't noodle. Guitar players, you do it. If you're watching as your guitar player, you do it. I'm telling you right now, you do it because I do it.
No noodling. Noodle.
Every guitarist who knows half of a pentatonic scale will just sit and Jimi Hendrix riff over and over and over again while somebody's trying to talk or somebody's trying to correct something, and all you can hear in the background is stop.
It happens. I'm a witness.
You do it too.
Okay, I do it too. Sometimes it's not as prominent in keyboardists, I think.
Oh no, it's definitely a guitar thing.
It's definitely
because it's slung around my shoulder. It's right here, and I want to touch it because it's pretty. But no, I don't know a single musician who doesn't do things with his hands.
Yeah, he's got to do it
at all times, and so you do it without even realizing you're doing it. All of a sudden. Noodle.
Stop it.
It's hard to say really fast. If you're watching this episode right now, stop, hit the pause button, and say the word noodle over and over and over again. I promise it'll drive yourself crazy, and you can't do it.
Nope.
So anyway, don't noodle. It's annoying. I'm annoying myself. But going back to the other point, you're not on just your own time anymore when you're at rehearsal.
Nope.
Yeah, there's a lot of other people in the room.
Yep. A lot of other people.
Yep. They have lives. Some of them have kids. Some of them are about to have kids, and that's almost more pressing. Jobs the next day, maybe later that night, depending on who works what shift. I mean, you've got everybody else's time and attention to think about. So you need to be mindful and respectful of that. You don't want to be the reason that somebody got home to their wife late and now their kid's not in bed on time. And when that happens, they cry at weird times in the night. Nobody gets any sleep. And the next morning, their car ends up in a ditch on the way to work, all because you didn't rehearse the way you should have. Like, that's not.
Yep, you should have practiced first. And then your part. And then that leads in.
Isn't that funny? How we did the practice episode before the rehearsal episode.
Yes.
But that's another good point. Franklin, there's kind of two sides of this coin. And depending on your church, it kind of happens different ways. If you're given the set list earlier in the week and you practice on Wednesdays or Thursdays, what do you do first?
You got to practice it. You got to learn it. You got to listen to it. You got to know it. Know it inside and out.
Yep. Rehearsal is not practice. You don't show up to rehearsal to learn the songs if you're given the songs ahead of time. You show up to rehearsal so that the band learns how each other plays the song. Now, flip side of that coin, if you just listen to that, you're like, that's not how we do it. Well, that's not how we do it either, but we got you. Sometimes the songs aren't picked until Wednesday or the rehearsal, or you're not told what songs you're playing until you get to the rehearsal. That's okay. Maybe the way that your church wants to do it is that the band, you play songs that you've been playing for years, but if you're learning one, maybe the worship leader decides you guys need to all learn it together. That's cool too.
Oh, it works, yeah.
That way everybody's in on what's going on. Don't be the odd man out. But when that happens, what do you think is important if the whole band's learning their songs on Wednesdays?
I believe that the most important thing is, just being together as a team, being there on time, of course. Time is very important. Time, punctuality. But then listening to the song, sure, maybe if it's the first time you've heard it, okay. Maybe it's the millionth time you've heard it. But listening to the song and familiarizing yourself with the song.
There's a big difference in like listening to the song and hearing it on the radio and going, yeah, I know that song, and listening to the song like you're going to play it. Big difference. You listen to a song for the first time, you're road mapping it. You're listening for where are their guitar parts, where are the builds, how many times do they do this chorus the second time around, that kind of stuff. And so you're listening to it with almost a different set of ears. So I would also challenge, as a band, if you're listening to the song that you're about to just play right afterwards, maybe don't play during the part where you're listening to the song. Maybe a little thing, okay, I got the riff, and then out. Don't miss the song for trying to learn the song. Because whoops.
Yep. You missed the whole part. You're like, crap, I was playing this part over and over again, and, well...
It happens. So, depending on how your church does it, be as prepared as possible so that the rehearsal is beneficial for everybody.
Yep.
That listening to the song thing, it's a big one that we do. And then we'll be on the way to the sanctuary afterwards, and our drummer Kyle will be walking down the hallway the other way, just listening to the song on his phone, just trying to make sure he hears it one more time.
Yeah.
And that's a great thing. I mean, it shows that you care enough about the song to want to internalize it. Let's throw this one out there because I'm bad about it. Sometimes you're bad about it.
Oh, I can't remember.
Bring your materials.
Oh, yeah. Oops.
I'm real bad about it. I can be at home and be ready to go and think, don't forget that iPad. Don't you dare. And then next thing you know, I'm out the door and I'm halfway to church and I'm like, really?
Yep.
How did that happen?
Yep.
If you've got an iPad, if you're using sheet music that you've been practicing, that you just need at rehearsal, don't forget it.
Yep.
Do something silly to make sure that you remember it. Like, ahead of time, go ahead and stick it in your guitar case. Or, maybe, I don't know. Don't do this if it's an iPad, but roll it up and stick it like in the handle of your guitar case.
Oh. Yeah.
Don't forget your stuff.
Yep, no. You don't forget your stuff. Don't forget your in-ears if you use in-ears.
Oh, yeah.
Don't forget your slides.
Don't forget your guitar.
Oh, don't forget your guitar. Well, yeah, that's happened.
I've done that. Yeah. It's hard to play without one of those. And air guitar makes you like a show off. So don't. But yeah, remember your stuff. That's kind of an easy one. So rehearsals, Wednesday nights, Thursday nights, whatever. If it's like a midweek rehearsal, you're either practicing the songs as a band that everybody's already practiced, or you've kind of learned the songs as a band. You're kind of getting them together as a band. Either way, that midweek rehearsal is sometimes it's messy.
Yep, it's messy. You got to run. Sometimes you have to run the songs 4 or 5 times. It's a super hard song, which we've had to do. I think sometimes we've had to run it like 6, 7 times. It's sometimes it's a hard song. Like it's a funky beat.
It changes meter.
Yeah,
all kind of stuff like the one we just went over.
Yeah, this one we just went over. That one was. It took me like 6, 7 tries in the beginning. I'm like, wait, am I counting it 3 or 4 or 4/4? And then we had to like. I tried it like 3 times. Nope. I was like, okay, we gotta listen to this song. I don't remember.
Then you mess up and you find out that you're subdividing 4 by 3 in your head, and you're in a weird place, and it happens.
It happens.
But yeah, sometimes rehearsal is messy, and that's okay. As a band, you're working out the kinks as a band, and your worship leader is kind of analyzing what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
It's their job to make corrections, to go, I didn't like that.
Yep.
Or this part was messy, let's clean it up.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe we shouldn't do the chorus 15 times at the end. Maybe we should do it 14.
You don't want to be Hillsong or Bethel? Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to throw you guys under the bus.
Sorry, guys. It's all spontaneous. Anyway, not making fun of spontaneous worship at all.
No.
If that's what the Spirit calls for, do it.
Do it.
But yeah, and so it's the worship leader's job to kind of point that out. But as your job to listen to those corrections, or to, if you had a problem spot that you need to work on, or if there's something else that you heard, as a team, you should be able to. I mean, you're not calling each other out, but you should be able to bring it up.
Yeah, bring it up. So like, hey, I hear it this way. And then you guys listen to it, and then, oh no, maybe I was wrong. It's okay. It's dirty. It's messy.
Yeah,
and it's your team. It's okay to say, hey, I think this way.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that mine and his relationship. If I'm playing a part wrong, or if I'm doing too much, if he tells me that that's what's going on, I'm going to listen to him. Franklin's a great musician, and we have that. We have that thing going on. But the other thing is I expect him to hold me to that standard.
Yep. I mean, I expect him to hold me to that standard too. Like we've listened to a song here and there, and sometimes the sheet music's wrong, or maybe we don't even have sheet music. We're like, I think it's this chord, and sometimes I've been right, sometimes he's been right. It's okay. Like we just go. We're like, oh yeah, it's this way. And then we figure,
we usually land in the middle.
Yeah, we usually in the middle.
Christmas songs especially, man. We could get out in left field with some extended chords in a minute.
We can.
And the rest of the band looks at us like we all quit. But yeah, that's important as a band to be able to be enough of a team that you don't feel like you're calling each other out. That you want it to be the best it can be to give the glory back to the one that you're singing about in the first place. So
exactly.
Let's say this too. If you are learning a new part, or you want to try out a part with the band, let's say you've been listening to the recording and you've got a new synthesizer and you've got it set to do this cool thing that you heard, try it out at the midweek messy rehearsal.
Yes.
For this reason, it goes back to the analysis. If you do it and the worship leader says, "Whoa, please don't do that Sunday,"
Yes.
or more loving than that, but go ahead and try that out there, so that if it's good, you keep it, or if it's not, you figure something else out. Don't try it on Sunday morning.
No,
live.
Never tried Sunday morning.
If you've learned a new guitar part to a song, or this happens a lot. 6 different bands have done "Lead Me to the Cross." There's a different guitar part from each one.
Oh yeah.
And what if the band is playing one of the other versions, or somewhere kind of in between, and you decide to try out Nigel's guitar part for the first time? Try it out at the midweek rehearsal. See what people think.
Yep.
Especially because Nigel's guitar part has like a minor second in it, and it's very crunchy and nasty, and that may not fit. It may not fit the vibe. Though I really like his guitar part on it, but that's that's neither here nor there. So yeah, do that, and then I'm gonna throw this out there about the midweek rehearsals. Try and use the gear that you're going to use on Sunday.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Very important. Don't switch gears. Don't switch your gear up. That can be it can depend upon how you guys are set up, of course. But if you guys have a sound person there, they're going to hate you. Our sound people aren't usually there on Wednesdays, sometimes, for the most part. But
I typically use the same gear every Sunday, so that helps
they usually
in that situation.
It usually helps in the situation, but But then that also, when you go out and practice or go out and to rehearse in the sanctuary, wherever you guys are playing, then at least you can hear and know, okay, you can dial it in. That's the biggest thing. It's dialing it in. If you change up your guitar with different pickups, or different keys, or different basses, which
I'm not guilty of that.
Well, I have done sometimes too. Bring my keyboard from like my computer, my main stage setup, and I'm sometimes not even really set up either. So I'm like, well, let's try it. Let's do it.
Or you get a new guitar. You go on Saturday and you buy a brand new guitar, and you're like, I'm playing this tomorrow morning. That's probably okay. Let's put it. All right. Let me throw an exception out there, because I do this some. If you're a guitarist and you're using the same pedal board and amp or whatever you're using, and you want to switch guitars, if you're running a compressor, that can make it not as big a deal.
Okay.
Because your volume level is going to be about the same place.
Yeah, I can see that. Where it pushes and down pushes. Yeah.
So, but I would say only guitar. Like, don't switch your pedals out for other stuff. That can get haywire.
Yeah.
But try to use the same guitar on Sunday that you're going to use on Wednesday. Like I used yesterday, I used the Les Paul. I'll probably use it Sunday. Try to, but
and I get it. Sometimes some things happen. Guitar, like string breaks. You have no more strings. You have another guitar. So you gotta do what you gotta do. It's okay.
Yeah, as long as you can handle it. No. But really, what I want to harp on this one is, if you're going to use your pedal board on Sunday morning, and you didn't feel like carrying it Wednesday night because it's heavy, dude, don't be lazy and go get it and take it. Like, use the same gear that you're going to use Sunday morning.
Yeah.
As far as that kind of stuff goes, because you may need to make some tweaks or you want to make some changes and stuff. You don't need to be doing that last minute. If you practice with it midweek, that gives you the opportunity to do those things then to get it dialed in for the rest of the week.
Yep. To mesh with the sound, because if you don't take it and you play straight or you do something different, you have another board and you're like, oh, I want to bring it Sunday. I'm going to bring my big board Sunday. The tones, it's too much.
The volume difference.
Volume differences.
Very small differences in your output signal can really affect the board in a bigger way. Amps too. Man, don't bring a little tiny amp and play through it on stage, and then Sunday morning bring your gigantic matchless. The volume's not. It's.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. He's hot. Look at it.
Use the same stuff you're going to use, except maybe a guitar with a compressor, within reason.
Within reason, yes.
The same goes for, and I pick on guitar players because I am one, and I don't like any of us, but, same goes for a drummer. If you are bringing a kit, use the same kit. Sunday morning, you're using keyboards.
Keyboards.
Everything. Try and keep it the same. It's important to play with the things you're going to play with.
Very important.
All that said and done, let's look at Sunday morning rehearsals. Not every church does this.
Not every church does, but
we do.
Yeah, from our perspective, we specifically do.
Yeah, an hour before the service, we get there and we run the songs one more time. But at that point, we're not learning them anymore.
No, we're not trying something fancy. We do what we've played and rehearsed and practiced.
Yeah, it's pretty much a dress rehearsal. You run them down, and they are what they are. Last minute tweaks and tightens happen then, and the polished version hits downbeat when the service starts.
Exactly. Yep.
And that's the way you should consider it. Like Sunday morning, you should be beyond ready to go.
Yep.
But yeah, maybe the biggest tip for an effective rehearsal: have fun.
Yep. Definitely have fun.
Everybody loves to play their instrument, and you get to show up as a band together and play your instrument. It's great. But it also is worship.
It is.
Still
worship. You're putting forth, effort. God wants you to put in forth effort. Make that rehearsal time. Make your practice time at home worship. Make that rehearsal time worship. Everything you do, sure, you may get sick and tired of it 7 times in, but each time, remember, it's still worship. Have fun. It's okay. You're learning it. You're growing as a group. You're growing as a team.
Yeah, there's bigger things at stake than whether or not you're enjoying playing Happy Day 9 times. It's worship. They're all still songs to glorify God. And the cool part about it to me is that we practice in the sanctuary, the same sanctuary where we play on Sunday morning. And not everybody practices in the same room. A lot of times we do, or we end up in there. It doesn't matter how many people are in that room, because I'm not playing to the people in the room. My intention is to engage with everyone in the room and worship to an almighty God. So regardless of how many people are in the room, if I'm up there on the stage with these guys, and I'm playing songs that glorify God, I'm worshiping.
Yep. Exactly.
And that's, if you turn your rehearsal time, I'll go so far as to say this. Anyone who encounters Jesus and is truly saved has changes and things in their life that kind of automatically fix some issues. Same thing goes here. If you treat rehearsal time as worship, a lot of these things will become natural.
I agree.
100%.
Yep, I agree.
You'll be more respectful. You'll be more in tune with the band. And, if you foster that relationship, as if the whole group, the whole team has that together, you just leveled up.
Yeah. You built that trust, and you grow, and the rehearsal just goes like that. It's just smooth.
And then you find that instead of having to drag to rehearsal every week, you get to go to rehearsal every week, just like we get to go to church every week. Next thing you know, if you miss a rehearsal, or if the band can't rehearse in the middle of a week, you feel like you've missed something. You feel like, I didn't get to do that this week. And it becomes a very integral part of your week, of your routine, of your worship, of your giving back. And that's where you need to be. You need to be that it is something every week that you need to do, because you're serving and because you're worshiping.
Amen.
Not because you just really like to do it. All right.
Yep.
Comments. Please like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave us some comments. Let us know if you have any other tips for good rehearsal practices. Yeah, we want to hear, or we want to talk about all those kind of things,
Yep.
Or maybe you don't like one of the ones that we threw out there. Comment. Let us know.
Let us know. We'll love to talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys again for watching the WorshipCast. We'll see you next time.